You know, it really is a pity the way we treat each other now. I know you can't forgive me, but forgive me anyhow? The ending got so ugly, I even heard you say, you never ever loved me, but could you love me anyway? I've used up all my chances, and you'll never take me back. But there ain't no harm in asking, could you cut me one more slack? Have mercy on me, baby. After all, I did confess, even though you have to hate me, could you maybe hate me less?
Dar Al Sulh comes out of an ongoing project that I began with my mother back in 2004 called Enemy Kitchen. And that project involved teaching different public audiences in the United States about Iraqi cooking, Iraqi Jewish cooking in her case, as a way of making Iraqi culture visible, beyond the green-tinted CNN imagery of indiscriminate buildings being blown up. If I was going to look at a food that's sort of embattled or invisible, I would talk about the absence of Arab Jews and Arab Jewish cuisine, and in my case, Iraqi Jewish cuisine. I've arrived with a collection of recipes, my grandmother's recipes and recipes from the Iraqi Jewish community. The plates actually in this project were acquired on eBay, and they're mostly antiques dealers that are based in Israel. They list these plates that survived the journey of the Iraqi Jews out of Iraq. So in a lot of ways, it extends a part of my practice where I've been interested in these kinds of precious objects that are preserved and sometimes kept behind the vitrine, but I also think there's something very interesting about breaking the vitrine and taking the thing out and using it the way it was supposed to be used. So one of the things that I've been saying about the way that this dining experience functions is that, as accommodating it as it is, you are eating a dying language from the plate of a ghost. We have the front of the space minimally decorated, and the two things that you see immediately are two flags. And one is the Iraqi flag from 1959 to 1963, and it was the flag that was used under the reign of General Abdel Karim Qassem. For 6 months in 1958, the flag of Iraq was identical to the flag of Palestine. And so it became a way of making Palestine present. So that flag for me is connected to another object that's in the room. It's an image of Palestinians guarding a Jewish synagogue in the center of Beirut from attacks during the 1975 Lebanese Civil War. And it connects directly to the stories that you hear that are the other side of the stories that come out of Baghdad in the early 1940s. And there was the Farhud, there were the riots, and there were Jews that were attacked in the middle of Baghdad. But the stories you don't hear are about the Muslim neighbors that went outside with metal pipes to protect the houses of their Jewish neighbors. That photograph is those stories for me. The co-hosts and interlocutors here for the project are Regine Basha, who's an independent curator in New York, who for the past few years has been working on an ongoing project called Tuning Baghdad, which is this really wonderful archive of Iraqi Jewish music that she's pulled together from her own family's sources, and her father is actually a violin and an oud player who left Baghdad, I think, in the 50s. And she's provided a playlist for each night. The other person who's here as a co-host and an interlocutor is Dr. Ella Habiba Shohat, who teaches at NYU in New York and is also affiliated faculty here at NYU Abu Dhabi. Her cultural studies work, specifically on the topic of Arab Jews, was something that was incredibly important to me as a young artist and really kind of helped to formulate a position for me on how to kind of describe myself and where I'm coming from. And so when I read her works about Arab Jewish identity, it was the perfect term to use as a way to not only declare who I was, but to confuse who I was, and to create the material of that confusion that essentially becomes a big part of my work.
I'm lucky enough to have been an attendee twice, and more to that, I'm actually part of a very small and close Jewish community here in Dubai. We had this incredible dinner and it was amazing, and Michael just gave this very touching and heartwarming speech. I woke up the next morning, I'm in my office, and I get a call from this guy, and we were just sort of both reflecting on the fact that he says, I got up this morning, I took my kids to school, I gave my wife a kiss, and I couldn't help but feel, although I had done the same exact thing that I do every morning, that somehow I was just more welcome. That is incredibly powerful, and I think that these type of dinners are the type of things that have incredible ripple effects, and I'm just so honored and glad to be a part of it.